Hey, what's up, Dividend Nomads? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be releasing the very first introductory lesson of my free Freedom Abroad Blueprint course. I am going to release the whole course here on YouTube for free. I'm telling you, most YouTubers are going to charge you guys $100 to $400 a month for this kind of course. This course is 24 lessons long, and I plan to release one lesson, maybe 2 lessons per week. So we might be able to finish the course in 12 weeks, maybe 16 or 24 weeks. I don't know. I'm not sure yet the pace that I'm going to release the videos, but I will create a playlist for this and put all the videos in there in order. So later you can go back and watch the entire course from start to finish if you want to binge the whole course. But it is going to be 24 lessons long, so it's quite a long course. But like I said, I'll be releasing them every week. So all I ask in return is that you hit the like button and also communicate with me in the comments below under these course videos, because I want to hear from you guys and hear what you think about it and hear how you guys are progressing through the course as well. And I'd like to answer any of your questions and hear your feedback on the course and things like that. And also subscribe to the channel and be sure and share these videos, these course videos, or share the playlist with somebody who you think would really get a lot out of this. Since I am giving it away for free, I do want to help people. And that's why I created this whole thing. I don't really need your money. That's why I'm putting this out there for free instead of charging you guys a couple $100 for this course and my squeaky chair. So anyway, I'm going to record the screen, dive into the presentation, and let's get this thing rolling. 3, 2, 1, bam. All right, so here we are, the Freedom Abroad Blueprint. And let's kick things off with a very hard truth. Most people are stuck, especially men. And, you feel trapped and you go through life working, spending money, working, spending money. That's it. Work and spend without really making any progress. And you feel like, this can't be it. There's got to be more than this. And I know, because that was me. That was the same feeling that I had. And I took an alternative path and things worked out really well in my favor. And that's why I decided to create this course for you guys, to help you guys get an idea or understanding of the other path that's out there and how you can go about approaching it and improving your life. So even if you don't want to move abroad, this alternative path should help you have a better life. And that's why I want to share this with you guys for free. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to start it with this quote that really hit home to me, from Ben Franklin. Most men die at 25. We just bury them at 75. And this really hit home to me because from the time I was in my early 20s until I was damn near 40 years old, I was just kind of going through life not knowing anything about myself and not really taking the time to learn about myself and to learn about all the things I did and the decisions I made and why I did them. I didn't know those things. And also, looking at people like my father, he retired from work and sit around on the couch and do nothing. And the guy's in his 70s now, and he's always going on about he wishes he could do this and wish he could do that. And he's already in his 70s and he's acting like his dreams are dead and he didn't get to do any of the stuff he wanted to do. And I realized that wasn't the life I wanted to live. And I made a drastic change in my life and the way things were going. And that's why I wanted to create this, so you guys can also take advantage of that. While you're still young, it's never too late, but take advantage of that while you can, so you can live the life that you really want to live and the life that you actually deserve. So that's what this is all about, guys. So let's get into the modern trap. And this is, basically what the average man's life looks like. This is the modern trap. It's, you go to school, you get a job, you work 40 plus years, and you hope to retire by the time you're 65. And that's it. That's what most men's life actually looks like. That's what my father's life looked like. That's what my grandfather's life looked like. And most people that I actually know, this is what their life is. and they might not even be able to retire by 65. They'll just be old and still can't afford it. I mean, people my age that I grew up with, there's no way they'll be able to retire. And it's a sad reality. And, most of us end up drowning in debt, because you got these expectations, buy a house, you got to have cars, then you end up getting a family, get married to someone, have kids, and all those things cost a lot of money, and you end up going deep into debt, and you get hit with lots of stress trying to maintain your life and maintain a decent quality of life while paying all these bills, and you're just going to work and paying bills, going to work and paying bills, and that becomes life. And this is what most men experience in their life. And all those things equal no time, right? No time for yourself, no time for health, no time for, mental clarity, peace of mind. You really have no time. You just feel so exhausted that you don't want to do anything. When you finish all of the work you've been doing, you just go home and you want to sit around and watch TV or do nothing. And so you don't really have any time. And then also freedom. You don't have any freedom because you're tied to this life. You're tied to this job that you have to have in order to maintain this life. You take out a loan and buy a house, take out a loan and buy a car. You drive the car to work and you spend all day in work, and all the whole reason you're working to pay for that house, pay for that car, they sit there empty all day long while you're out making money to pay for something that's sitting empty. That's pretty much your life. And all these things leave you to have no energy, like no physical energy, no mental energy. It's all depleted from living this kind of life. And you end up trapped in a cycle of work, spend money, repeat, work, spend money, work, spend money, while all the things that you're spending money on are sitting there at home in an empty house alone while you're out working. And, you're always waiting for someday, right? Someday I'll go here, someday I'll go there, someday I'll do this. And that day never comes, and you end up old age, like my father, in your 70s, and you're sitting around and you don't go anywhere. You can't do nothing because your physical health is deteriorating, and you don't really have much that you can do because you're tied to this debt and tied to this lifestyle that you spent, your entire life working to do nothing. And so let's talk about why it happens. Why do most men end up in this trap, in this cycle? Why do we all end up having to go through this stuff? And so this is why most men stay stuck. It's because you're conditioned from a very young age to follow the system, right? It's like since you're like 5 years old, you go to school, 5 or 6 years old, and the first thing you start learning in school is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you gotta, work hard and study hard, go to university, graduate, get a good job, and all these things. Like, this is what you're told since you're 5 years old. And you get told this at school, you get told this by your parents, and it's just like pounded into you since you're a young kid and you're not even capable of thinking on your own. It gets programmed into your mind. And then by the time you're like me, when I was in my 20s, I thought the life that I'm living now was a fantasy. And I learned that it's not. But some people never learn. And you get stuck. So, a lot of men and women both, they have a fear of risk, a fear of taking risk, and a fear of stepping off of the traditional path because, you've seen what your grandparents have done, you've seen what your parents have done, you see what everybody around you is doing. They're all following this traditional path, and you're kind of like scared to not take that path and take risk because you don't know what's on the other side. What happens if you fail? And I took that risk twice and failed twice. And then I took the risk a third time and I was actually successful. But most people won't even take the risk one time, let alone two or three like I did. And you have to be willing to take risk in order to change your life. If you want to get away from this traditional path of, working till you're dead at some job that you don't really even care about or like. Another thing that keeps men stuck is financial pressure. You buy a house, most of us don't have money, so you got to take out a mortgage. And then, you still have these habits of consumerism, buying stuff. So now you have, a house payment, a mortgage, probably have a car payment. And like me, I used to like to modify cars, so I was always spending money on that, which is consumerism, buying stuff for my car and this and that. And then you start a family, you have kids, and now you're stuck with these financial pressures of paying these mortgages, paying car payments, paying insurance, property taxes, kids, schooling. And then on top of that, you still have all the consumerism habits that we have in the West, where you want to buy, and fill up your house full of stuff. And these are reasons why, a lot of men stay stuck, to buy their fancy lazy boy recliner and huge ass TV so you can watch sports, because that's your way of escaping when there's other ways to escape. And another reason is most men don't have exposure to alternatives like living abroad or building passive income. I know I never had exposure to those things. Growing up, my family had never talked about living abroad. Nobody I'd ever met had even traveled abroad to another country, let alone live abroad in another country. And I didn't know any people who did business, let alone make passive income. My family was poor, and nobody even mentioned a word about investing, let alone, doing some business or something like that. But even investing, like, they didn't even have money to invest, because so far in debt, trying to just stay afloat. And all the money they earned was going to the debts to, maintain this lifestyle. And most people don't have exposure to things like that. And then lastly, will be like, social programming. Like you get taught at school and taught by your parents is, play it safe, right? Be responsible, play it safe. That's risky. I hear it on my stock portfolios all the time. Oh, that's so risky. That's too risky for me. Well, you stay there and keep living the same life you're living that you don't really love, and keep living vicariously through me, because I'm taking the risk, right? Play it safe will keep you stuck. And we're going to talk about the cost of being stuck, the cost of staying trapped, what it really costs you to not take risk. And so, first of all, it's going to cost you your time. When I say your time, you're going to spend the next 40, 50 years working, right? Probably at some job, you're going to spend 40, 50 years working in some restaurant or some office or some factory or some warehouse or something like that, right? You're going to spend 40 to 50 years doing that. It's also going to cost you energy. Not just your physical energy, because it is going to cost you that by going to work, typical 9 to 5 every day or more overtime, because you probably need it to pay for all the crap. It's also going to cost you mental energy, because you're spending so much time dealing with work and bosses and all these other things. You're just not going to have much mental energy, especially when you add family on top of that, and you start, the pressures of family, of kids and wives and all these other things. It just drains all of your energy completely, and you have nothing left to give for yourself. Also, it costs you potential, because it doesn't matter your education level or none of that. Each and every one of you have potential to do greater things than working in a restaurant or a bar or an office or whatever job you're doing. You have greater potential than that. I know you do. I do. And I didn't realize it until I started to do something that I actually love to do. Then I realized that I actually have potential to do so many great things. And I didn't know that until I gained freedom. And that's one of the things that's holding you back, that's really costing you, is wasting your potential. Another thing that it costs you is your health, because you spend so much time at work, you spend so much energy, and you're wasting so much potential. You don't even have the energy to actively take part in your health. You end up eating crap food because it's convenient. You don't have time to actually exercise or do things that are actually healthy for your body and your mind. You don't have time to do those things because your energy is gone and your time is gone. And it's really, really costly, because these are some of the most important things that you have in your life, and you're giving them away by being trapped and not willing to take the risk. And another one is peace of mind, and this is a really big one for me, because my mind has always been so busy, so many things going on all the time, and never felt peace. I was always depressed, and I always had that thought in the back of my mind that there's so much more. I could be doing so many things, and I want to do this, I want to do that, but I can't, because I'm tied to this job. I'm tied to this, and I don't have any energy, and it will steal your peace of mind from you. And that's one of the most important things that you have, is your own peace of mind. And then lastly, I would say, it costs you your dreams. Like my father had these dreams and plans of wanting to do all these things, and doesn't get to do them, don't get to go these places, don't get to see the things that he's always wanted to see. And you don't want to be somebody who's in your 70s or 80s laying on your deathbed thinking, I wish I had more time so I could do this or do that. And these things are all the things you give up when you get tied to and trapped in the life that most men get trapped in. But there is an alternative path, like I mentioned, and this is the path that I took. And we're going to look at what this looks like if you took a different road. First of all, you're going to lower your cost of living, right? Lower cost of living means you have more money for yourself that you can actually use to buy your future and buy your time. You're also going to be able to build passive income streams, many different streams of income, so you can earn money doing things that you actually like to do and that you actually want to do, doing things that align with your potential and getting paid for those things. Also, because you have more time now and you have peace of mind and mental clarity and more energy, you're going to be able to get more healthy and get more fit. And you're going to have the discipline and the focus to do all the things that you always wanted to do, because you don't have all these things cluttering up your life and your power. Also, you get to live in countries where, $1,500 or less equals freedom. I was just in the Philippines, and I'm telling you, I could live in the Philippines near a beach for $800 a month. If you live in places in South America and places in Asia, $1,500 a month or less, you can live a really great quality life. You don't have to sacrifice the lifestyle that you have now. You can live the same quality life or even better life for $1,500 a month or less. And that is freedom, because it doesn't take much to get $1,500 a month from passive sources or doing something that you actually love. You can do that and get this much money. And also, you get to own your time, right? No alarm clocks, none of that crap. You get to wake up when you want to wake up, go to sleep when you want to go to sleep, and do what you want to do the time you want to do it. You don't have to rely on the boss or the job and all this and that. And also, you get to own your location. You get to choose anywhere you want to go. Like I just said, I was in the Philippines. I can go to a beach and live there for $800 a month. If I don't like beaches, I'm going to go to the mountain and live in the nature with no neighbors around. I can do that for less than $800 a month. And also your lifestyle, right? You get to own your lifestyle. If you want to be like me and wake up every day and go to the gym, after I finish the gym, have a nice breakfast, have a coffee, maybe film a YouTube video or something like that, journal, write down my thoughts and feelings, whatever. You can do that. If you want to go sit in a bar and drink beer all day and do nothing, watch the girls pass by. You can do that, right? You have the freedom to choose whatever lifestyle you want to choose if you follow an alternative path. And you get to wake up every day with purpose, not just an alarm clock, because now you've realized your potential, and now you actually have some purpose. Instead of just going to this mundane job, you actually have some purpose to work towards, something to live for, because you realize your potential and you're doing something that you love, and that is your purpose, the thing that you love to do. And a lot of us don't know what that is, or don't know how to make money from that. And that's something that you'll get by taking this alternative path. And so now I guess I'll share with you why I escaped. And this is just a quick little story briefly about, what happened to me. I was formerly broke, depressed, and homeless and directionless. Right, I grew up in poverty, no money, suffered from severe depression. I ended up homeless on the street, and I was living life with no direction, just work and spend, work and spend, work and spend. Actually, I'll share with you guys, I wrote a book about all this story. The whole story is here if you want to read the story. I'll put the link in the description. So anyway, I ended up moving abroad, and I found some purpose. I actually started doing something that I really enjoyed, and something that I actually loved and had passion for. And because doing that, the depression slowly started to slip away. I gained peace of mind. And when I gained peace of mind, the depression was all gone. And I started having a lot more mental energy and mental clarity. And those things led me to doing business and earning a lot of money and generating a lot of passive income through different business ventures and investing and all these other things that I never would have even thought about before, because I had so much stuff in my mind that I just couldn't have peace of mind to relax or to focus on any of this stuff. And that's how I ended up becoming quite wealthy, by moving abroad and attaining purpose and peace. And basically what I ended up doing was building a simple life based on fitness, because I actually love fitness. I love health and fitness. One of the things that I actually love doing is going to the gym, and I get to do that every single day that I want to do that. I can go do it. And I built my life around that, around a healthy lifestyle, around investing and businesses and freedom, because these are all the things that I actually love. These are the things that I have interest in, is health and fitness, business, investing, and of course the freedom to go all the places that I want to go. Because there's so many places I want to go and so many things I want to see. And that's how I built my life. And I'm not rich. I'm definitely I'm not rich, but I am free. I have the freedom to not work. I have the freedom to pack my bag right behind me there and go anywhere I want to go tomorrow if I want to. And for me, that is rich, even if it's not monetarily. And so right now, we're going to talk about the roadmap that you're actually going to learn in this course. So in this course, I'm going to show you how to create passive income from dividends. I'm going to show you how to live well abroad on a lean budget. I'm also going to show you how you can stay strong, mentally sharp, and self-directed. Actually have discipline and direction in your life. I'm also going to show you how to build mental clarity to make all this stuff your new reality, so you can actually live life the way you want to live it. So I'm going to cover all those things in this 24 lesson course. And so really quickly, here is some homework for you guys. And it's best if you actually write this down. So I would suggest you, get a notebook or something, write these questions down, and write down the truthful, honest answers to these questions. It doesn't matter if it's one sentence or 10 pages. Write down your true thoughts about these questions. And I want you to ask yourself, am I truly free? Or am I just surviving? Am I just going to work making money to pay these bills, is that freedom to you, or is that survival? You know, write it down, the things that you're doing and how you really feel about it. Also, I want you to ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to gain my freedom? Because you're probably going to have to give some things up to gain freedom. You might have to give up your mortgage, right? So you might have to sell your house to pay it off so you can be debt free. You might have to give up your car payment. You might have to give up your friends to move to another place that's far away. You might have to give up, the ability to see your parents or brothers and sisters or whatever on a regular basis, because you might want to move somewhere to gain the freedom. So write down, what are you actually willing to give up? What things are you willing to give up to gain the freedom and the life that you really want? And lastly, I want you to write down, what do I want to become in the next 1 to 5 years? So say 5 years from now, what would you actually like your life to look like? What would be your ideal life? If you could live any life you wanted to live 5 years from now, what would that life look like? What does your ideal life look like to you in just 5 years' time? So write those questions down, write the answers to those down. And also, I would love to hear from you in the comments below, your answer to some of those questions, or if you have any questions or anything like that about any of the things that I just covered in this first introductory lesson, I would love to hear that in the comments below. I'll read each and every comment. I may not reply to all of them, but I do read all of them. And so that's the end of lesson 1. Lesson 2 will be up soon. Don't forget, I do have a book that explains my journey, all the hardships that I went through in my life that led me up to where I am now, to finding peace, purpose, happiness, freedom, all those things. It's all right here in this little book. And don't forget, you can check out the other links below as well. And like, subscribe, share this with somebody who is interested in changing their life. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Y'all take care.